So Soronde Mi Madre was something that I did around the time it was the anniversary of my mum's death and my grandma had died, and so Madre was something that I picked out as, you know, Padre, mother, and Soronde sort of appears in terms of, you know, like it's kind of like song, it's kind of like serenade, it's kind of, you know, those sorts of things. So so there's an intention at the point of choosing it, but to a point where it's not saying this is what this is about to an audience. Sort of keeping that sampling spirit alive in my work. That some of those things, and I've found some absolutely amazing. There's a couple of bits of some seagulls flying, and it's just been a key piece that is just amazing when it works. You know, just with black and white and. I just go out with my still camera and just squeeze off, and this is another example of where the technology has just made things so accessible that I can go out with my still camera, not only am I taking photos, but I can squirt off some, you know, 640 by 480 30 frames a second video. It's already a nice little clip. I don't have to worry about importing it and converting it to another format. I can do some processing in After Effects or in Apple's Motion software, and then yeah, just bring it all together. The sound will come together by pulling all of the cables out of the modular and just starting a patch. And within the modular case that I've got at the moment, I can have 4 patches running simultaneously, so 4 separate sounds running through. So I'll start with one patch in that, and then build up another patch, and then build up another patch until I've got that. And then in between, while I'm doing that process as well, I'll be collating and processing the images that I'm using for the video side of things. So and then that'll be ready on the Mac. Bringing the laptop and the modular together into the studio and play with some of the sounds. So just improvise within the patches, and then improvise within the laptop as well, so I can do sort of the visuals and the sound at the same time, and sort of see how the visuals are reacting to the sound, and adjust some parameters. So for example, if I've made a patch where I am working with the time base of a video clip, sometimes that a particular sound or a frequency might be making that run too fast, so I'd have to just change the scripts a little bit or change the modules a little bit in the visuals just to get them tighter. So although the tracks are improvised, they're limited in their range, so nothing's going to go horribly wrong. The drones need time for a listener to connect with, to be able to take on that journey. So for it to happen over a 5-minute span is just not going to work. I don't think you can connect with it in that amount of time. I think I'm asking a little bit more from the audience who are listening to invest that time, to think, well, you know, a sitcom goes for 22 minutes, you know, episode of The Simpsons or something. So I wonder if there's space for what I'm doing to slot over the top of that, to ask for that time investment instead of, you know, your favourite sitcom, or, you know, that instead here's something to take your time out of, because I'm not like blasting a message or trying to be funny or get across some sort of point of view, but instead making that space for whoever's willing to sit down and actually connect and open up with it.
But I think that
case I picked up from a guy that goes to a lot of ex-military auctions, and I'd been having it just as, you know, like a pedal case for a long time, and it had all foam in it, so it was just a, you know, carry around sort of thing. And it clicked that it was a perfect 6 rack units height, and these are Euro format modulars, which is a 3 unit high rack format. And it's metric as well, because some of the other synth formats are imperial because they came sort of from the States, but they call it Euro, and so so it comes in like that. So in terms of getting the modules to fit into the case, yeah, that's the part that I did. And then had the opportunity to put in things like these, which are just multiples that allow 1 signal to go in and then 3 to come out. You can't use them as a mixer, so you can't put, you know, 2 or 3 in and get 1 out, because the whole thing works on voltages. And so if I was to put, you know, 2 10-volt things in, then we're going to get a much higher voltage out and end up frying another module. So that's not what it's for. So this is a cool example where I've got a joystick that's got an X and Y axis, and so I've got the Y coming out into here, but I can split that Y off to 2 separate locations. And so then these modules come from just different manufacturers around the world. There is one sort of DIY. The joystick is DIY, it's made, and then some of these ones, like the Elby ones, they come as kits, and you just sort of buy the faceplate, the PCBs, and all the hardware, and just solder it together and put it together. And he's actually an Australian guy that's doing it, and they're pretty. Some of his modules are pretty esoteric, like the Charqua, which is a chaos generator and a quadrature oscillator. So chaos is a little bit different to a random signal, random control voltage signal, in that it'll sit there, it'll come through regularly, but every now and then the signal becomes a little bit chaotic and gets a little bit out of control, but it'll always come back to a regular. So you get these sort of regular sweeps that you can do, and then it'll just go nuts for a little bit and then come back again, whereas a random signal is a continuous random signal as it goes through. And Plan B, so this is a Livewire AFG, or audio frequency generator, which is an oscillator, and it's fairly unique in sort of its range of what it can do. But this whole thing is set up with modulation, oscillators, filters, envelopes or amps, or like voltage controlled amplifiers, and then effects, and then mixing at the end. It's controlled with, one of the controllers is the ribbon controller, which has 4 different outputs on it. So not only does it have like a control voltage from left to right, but it's also got pressure sensitivity, and then it's got 2 separate gates, one which will engage at any point, and then another one where you can set how hard you press until that gate. So it'd be kind of like having, you know, a keyboard that you press the key in one gate, but then you press it again harder, and another one
sensitive
opens. Being able to have those choices with it has sort of let me found to this point where I really feel in the years that I've been making music that I'm the closest to making my own. Something that is uniquely mine. Yes, there's influences, but you know, like when I was doing the beat glitchy stuff, well, you know, I'm just imitating those people, and I'm getting my head around the software and how to do it, but I'm still just imitating them. And this is where I feel like I've got an instrument that is uniquely my own, and that I can investigate that myself and bring out something that's me.